C. Brown, Immaculate Home Builders, with another Equity Saver session. I'm here with my realtor partner and friend of mine, Janika Batson, with Next Home Mims Realty. She called us out. This was probably 5 or 6 months ago that we did this project. It was in Edgewood. Beautiful property. Again, this was a dated property. It needed a good amount of work. She called us in, Immaculate Home Builders, to come out and help the client. It was a couple. So we're going to talk about that and how we saved the client tons of money in equity. But first, let me introduce Janika, have her to tell you guys who she's with, the brokerage, and a little bit about her as a realtor. So Janika, tell us about you. Who are you and what brokerage you're with?
Hi, my name is Janika Batson with Next Home Mims Realty Group. I've been licensed for 3 years, coming this June, and I absolutely love it. Good.
So I got another call from someone at Hope Mims. Shout out to Hope, man. She's keeping us busy. Obviously, she's an amazing broker, and she has some really, really good realtors over there. And this is indeed my second realtor, maybe third, from over at Next Home Mims Realty. So shout out to that. As I always start off with just a general question. Obviously, you gave us a call to come out, but talk to me about why you thought that My Pay It Close was a good fit for your clients. Tell us a little bit of the backstory in terms of, how you got the client and what that looked like and why you thought it was a good fit for Immaculate Home Builders to come in and do some work.
Okay, so my clients came to me. I actually already knew my client. She was an old friend from school. They called me. They wanted to list their property, but they also wanted the most out of their property. So They wanted
the maximum. They wanted the maximum.
They wanted the maximum.
Right,
yes.
Makes sense. So obviously, with the Pay It Close framework, most of the sellers, right, they don't want to lose equity, and that's the reason why, again, I jumped into this business model, is because we're trying to save our clients, collectively our clients, the opportunity to make as much equity as possible. So obviously they called you, they wanted to save as much equity as possible. Let's talk about the condition of the property. What was the condition, in your opinion, of the actual property? What did it look like? What you thought that it needed, that type of thing?
So when I went out for my listing appointment, the home needed a lot of work. It was outdated. The kitchen was outdated, the appliances, the paint, and it also needed a lot of new flooring.
So most of the renovations that we do are generally cosmetic renovations, right? Paint, flooring, doorknobs, light fixtures, something to bring the property up to a new and contemporary look and feel. Because obviously, if a new buyer wants to buy a property, the last thing that they want is a property that's dated, right? 1980s, 1970s. So obviously, that was some of the things that was really important. When I walked in, it was the same deal, right? The property was in good condition. It was in Edgewood, Maryland, which was a great community, but it did need some work. It needed, some touch-ups, and that's what we ultimately did. Let's talk really quick about the process, right? What did you feel about how we did business, how we handled both you as well as the seller, just the process in general? Tell us about what you felt about the process.
The process was really smooth. The communication was great. Corey and his team, they were available to answer any questions, and I would use them again.
Good. So as I always say, communication is key. What I try to do is put all of us on a three-way chat, both the seller and the realtor partner, to make sure that the open lines of communication is open in general. Let's talk really quick about the actual renovation, right? Obviously, we remodeled the kitchen. It was a partial remodel.
Yes.
We partially remodeled some of the bathrooms. We painted, we changed the doors. In terms of the finishes and the overall renovation, tell us about the satisfaction or what you thought about that process in terms of how we decided to, go with certain colors, go with certain feels, certain energy. What was your thoughts on that?
So I thought the renovations, the selection of the paint, the flooring, the lighting, I absolutely love the lighting.
Good.
My clients love the lighting. Everything was great.
So in this process, and I'll tell you one thing that we actually ran into, the client, the seller, wanted to be involved in the process. You remember that, right?
I remember.
She wanted to be involved in terms of the selection. I'm extremely particular, and I really don't allow many of the sellers to add but so much input in that process, just because a lot of times sellers don't really know exactly what the property needs to look like on the back end, right? Obviously, as the professional, she knows best. I know best in my profession in terms of what we want the property to look like, so my realtor partner can get the property sold. So I remember the client asking about that, and marginally, I allowed her to just give some input on potentially paint, but not much, right? Just because the process has to be streamlined. We're trying to get in and get out, but overall, it was beautiful. I mean, we painted the cabinets. Again, if the cabinets are in good condition, I'm not going to replace the cabinets because it's really expensive. And if my goal is to save the client a lot of money, then I'm going to do just that. If there's an opportunity to paint the cabinets and change some knobs, then that's what I'm going to do. We put in a new granite countertop, and we also put in a really nice backsplash. So the kitchen was amazing. And then the other rooms, we painted the doors, we changed the doorknob. So a traditional cosmetic renovation is what most of these properties need, just to get it over the point where we're going to get an end buyer to be able to buy it at the top of the price point. So with that said, the sales process, I know after we finished, you came in, put the property on the market. I got the photos taken. Talk to me about the process for you in terms of getting the property sold, right? How long it took? Was it difficult? Did it show well? Talk to me about your process as a realtor with getting the property sold after Immaculate Home Builders came in and did the work.
Okay, so when I put the property on the market, I had it under contract within 7 days.
7 days?
7 days. We had several showings, but it was under contract within 7 days.
So obviously for me, and I'll just tell you guys a personal goal of mine, I want to make sure that these properties are under contract in 14 days or less. That's a competition thing for me. Obviously, that makes sure that my client is able to get this thing sold and out of the way. And also my realtor partner, as I always say, looks like the hero on the back end. So 7 days, property was under contract. And then obviously the property sold, which I was really excited about. The clients were really happy because if I'm not mistaken, this was just an additional property in the family and they were trying to use it for something, correct?
That's correct.
So a lot of times there are different situations that the home sellers are in, whether it be, an estate sale, or they're trying to use the money to purchase another property or use the money for college for a kid, whatever that looks like. I don't really care. The goal is to make sure that the property is able to sell at the top of the market. And I believe it did. What did the property sell for?
It sold for $340,000.
340 in the Edgewood market. So that was top of the market. We competed. We raised the value in the neighborhood, and obviously you got the commission, because what was the property going to be sold for as is? Was that a thought? What was that looking like at first?
It was under maybe around 289-ish.
So 289, if that was a number, that would have been a loss of equity. And I don't even know if they would have got that price point, given that the property was in the condition that it was in. But obviously we got called the Immaculate Home Builders. We came in and we did the work. Obviously, man, we're the equity savers. So last question, the actual overall service that I offer, the pay at close, pre-listing pay at close, tell us about how you feel about that. If you would use it again, just give any feedback to my audience and yours in terms of what you feel about Immaculate Home Builders coming in, doing all the work up front, and then obviously the client paying on the back end.
Right. So absolutely, I would use Corey and his team again. My clients love the fact that they could pay at closing. Yeah.
So again, another proud and happy client. Really important for me. I offer this framework to help people, right? My goal is to come in and make sure for those people that may not have the money up front is to get the property looking pristine, as pretty as possible. And then I'm okay with being paid on the back end. So C. Brown, man, Immaculate Home Builders here with Janika again. Next Home Realty, MIMS Group. I appreciate you guys. If you are a realtor, if you are a broker, feel free to give me a call. My information is below. It is C. Brown, man, Immaculate Home Builders, Equity Saver Session. I'll talk to you soon.